A single project can have multiple employees. And there are other examples are like the product and sales, so no, not the product and sales, and the sales and sorry, products and orders, right? Each product order can have multiple products. A single product can appear in multiple, more than one order, right? These are all the classic example for the many-to-many relationship. One second, let me. So this is the one we have seen in this example. I have explained you how how do we resolve this many-to-many relationship. It's not a pretty straightforward way of implementing it. Let us take this example. Okay, so this is my sales table and city data table. In this data set, we can see that sales by city and state. We have two columns, like say the city and state by sales. Sales by city and state data are available in this table. And you have something that's called city data. In the city data, that table have the populations or population, right? So population by city by state. So this table has the population, right? The population of the people, right? In the population of the people by city by state. But if you see here in these two tables, if you take the state column has duplicate values in it in both the tables. In both the tables, you have duplicate values. I just go and show you the data here in my Power BI desktop. I already loaded it here. If you see here, we have something called sales table. In the sales table, if you see here in the state column, we can see the duplicates of the state name. CA stands for California, and TX Texas and Washington. We can see that there is a duplicates of the state name here, duplicate of the state names here. And also if you look at the city data in this table, if you see here, even in this table, we can see that duplicate values for the state column. Both the city data as well as the sales one table, we can see that the state column is available. And we can also view it here. So this is my city data table. Now I'm in model view. So you can see that the state and 1 second, let me just city and state. See, state is available and state is available here. But when we look at the state, the values in the state column in both the tables, we have more than one record is there. Right, so multiple records in this state column associated with multiple records in another table. If you use the state column to link these two tables, let's say in the report canvas, your management, they want you to produce a report, something like that. Your manager wants to create a report, something like that. Okay, and this is what you need to do it. This is the data set given to you. Okay, the two data sets are given to you. With these two data sets, you need to create this report. And if I go ahead and create a report, like that, let us see what happens. I just clicked on the table visual. Fine. Now what I do is I just go to the, it's all CSV file. I will point you how to download these files. Okay, I will share it later today's session. I will do it without file, don't worry. Okay, and here city data is there, and I have the sales one is there. And if I use, look here the city data and these two tables are available, but there are no relationship exists as of now between these two tables. If you don't have any relationship between the tables, you know very well the necessity of creating the relationship between the tables. In Power BI, if you don't create the relationship between the tables, not only Power BI, this is applicable in RDBMS, all the RDBMS software, okay? But Tableau and other reporting tool, you don't have to create the relationship. Okay, and here, in this case, we need to create the relationship between the tables. And what I do is I just create the relationship between state and state directly here. Look here, what happens? Many to many relationship, because in both the tables, the state column have duplicate values in it. Each state is repeating more than one time. But when you look at the data, logically it is correct, because each state can have more than one city. So in this, California using Los Angeles and California San Francisco is there, but it is correct. But as per the RDBMS rule, right, you are not supposed to have multiple values in the key column. So according to us, we are thinking that this is a key column. But if I use this as a key column, and if I go ahead and create a relationship, it shows, look here, if I drag and drop, okay, already it got created. 1 second, let me just check. Yeah, state and state. These two columns are common here. And what are the other columns? We can see that the custom column is also common and city is also common here. This is a little bit different. Okay, so far we have seen for example, in the date dimension table and sales table, we linked those two tables using date and order date columns. And if you see here, we have more than one columns. City is there, right? City is also available here. We will go start with the state column. Since the state column in both the table have duplicate values for the state, it gives us a warning. This relationship is has cardinality many to many. This should only be used if it is expected that neither columns contains unique values. Neither columns contains unique values, and that the significantly different behavior of many to many is understood. And here we have the cross filter direction both is available. Now what I do is I just go and create a report. Let's see what happens with this kind of relationship. So all you need is an output, something like this. Okay, what I do is in both the tables, city data as well as the sales, I can see that in both the tables, I have the city and state columns are available, right? In both these tables, I have the city and state column available. Okay, what I do is I just go and pull this thing here, city here and state here. I just want to change the order, and I just go to this section. I move this up so that the state column becomes the first one and city becomes the second one. And the next one is the population. I want to display the population, the population by city by state. Okay, and if you compare here, 0.90 is San Francisco good, and California 4.0 is there good. This is good. And next one is sales. If I move the sales here, the sales comes from another table, the sales data. Okay, what happens here is for Los Angeles, okay, for our reference, what I will do is I will just create a table wherein we'll put all the necessary columns so that we can compare it here. The sales one has, instead of switching to data we every now and then, right? For the sake of convenience, I'm just putting it here for referral purpose. This is my sales table, and I'm going to create another one. This is the one is going to have the state and city and population in it. If you refer in this table, right, now we have combined these two tables, right? We have taken the data columns from these two tables. State, city, and population comes from this table, and sales comes from this table. These two tables are having many-to-many relationship because we have used the state column as the common key column to join these two tables, because we want to pull the data from these two tables, population and sales. Hence, it requires a join. What type of join? It's not a one-to-many, many-to-many, because the state column has duplicate values in it. Okay, because of the duplicate values, what happens here? this table, the sales and these three columns comes from where? The state, city data. The state, city, population, these three columns comes from this one. Only sales comes from this table. Okay. Now what happens is this table, the city data is filtering this table. Okay. And what I do is, filtering it. But if you see here, bidirectional relationship enabled, cross filter direction both. It is not unidirection. You remember, if you just double click on it, you can see both cross filter direction both. And here, so in this case, what we are saying is the city data in the city data table, state column should filter the my sales one table, and the state column that is there in my sales one table to filter this table. That is what it says. But what happens here is Los Angeles and San Francisco, if you see the sales here, 60 and 80, but it shows 140, 140. It adds these two values together and then it repeats it. Okay, it is not giving the proper sales breakup here when you join these two tables with this option. Okay, and the next one is in WA, you have more than one record is there. What happens? It add these two values and then it repeats these two values here. Okay, and next one is Texas. Texas is 8.50 is the population. This is correct. As long as this table is concerned, it is doing we are just pulling the data as it is, but we are using this table to filter this table. While filtering it with many to many, what happens is it is adding the sum for each group in this state. What is the total sales? And then it repeats that. Instead of giving it as 60, 80, in Los Angeles, 60 should be there, but 60 plus 80, 140, it adds them together, it gives us. It's not giving me I'm not able to produce the expected output like this. So along with that, you want the city also, state, city, and sales population, but it should display the correct value in this format. Okay, there should not be any repeatable values here. But with this approach, it is not working. What I will do is I'll just go here. I just double click on this link and it opens up this one. And let me try this one. Many to many. You have the city data, the single sales one, sorry, city data filter sales one. I want this one to be this option. Let's see what happens. But still, it is not much helpful. It is not doing the same thing. When I used both, even with that, it is not doing a good job. And both, but when I use the city data table state column to filter the sales one table, it is not doing it. Let us try this one also. We'll see what happens. Not much helpful. So this time, at least previously, it was showing, it was repeating the total sales by state. California, what is the total sales? It was repeating it. But now it is doing nothing. It takes the entire sales and then it repeats this value here. It is not much helpful. Okay. At least in the previously, when we filtered using the city data, we use the city data to filter the sales one. It was doing the filtering, but it was not giving the proper value. Look here. See here, how much here? 60 plus 80, 140. It gives 140, 140 here, 250, 250 here. Instead of giving 790, 90 here, it gives me here. It's all because we have the duplicate values in the state column. Okay, in this is, then how do we solve this one? Is there any other way we can solve this issue? We can introduce some bridge table. With the help of the bridge table, we can solve it. Instead of going and directly creating a bridge table upfront, what I do is I will look at this data here. I just go here. In this data, I can see that in each state, the city names are not repeating. Can you see any duplicates here? Can you see Los Angeles more than one time? No. San Francisco, can I see more than one time? No. It is good. In this case, city column has non-repeating values here, no duplicate values here. And similarly, when I look at the city data table, I don't see any duplicate here. Both the table I have state as well as the city column. But when I use city column, when I look at the city column, we don't see any duplicate here in both the tables. Okay, the another approach is what I do is I directly link city with city. Okay, now see automatically it creates bidirectional relation, but it is one-to-one relationship. Now what I do is I just go and see here. It is doing perfect job. 60, 80, 400, 150, 100. In WA, we have 100, 150. Yes. And the population was 0.20, 0.70. It is doing the it gives me the correct breakup here. Okay. So what is the takeaway now? If you use the state column here to create the relationship between these two tables, it led to many-to-many relationship, because in both the tables, the state column have duplicate values. First of all, you need to understand what is many-to-many relationship. Multiple records in a table associated with multiple records in another table. In this example, state and state, both the column, multiple records have relationship in multiple records. Hence, it was not doing the filtering correctly. Okay. And so what we did, we just looked at the data. When we looked at the data, we are able to see that the city column, we don't have a duplicate here. And hence we directly connected here. So there is no many-to-many relationship, nothing here. But here it created the bidirectional relationship. If I make it single, look here, the filter direction selected is not valid for this relationship because it's a one-to-one. It's a one-to-one relationship. See, this is a classic example, right? It's all one-to-one here. So there is no one-to-many, it's one-to-one, or it's not a many-to-one or many-to-many. So in this case, it is both. Okay, it should be both. And one-to-one. So in this case, it's not that, we will not have one-to-many relationship. With one-to-many relationship itself, you are able to solve it. It is doing the filtering correctly. Okay, the another approach is I just copy paste it. Now what I do is I just delete this one. Okay, what I did here, I just created something called custom column. I just go to the data view. Here in the city data, I just clicked on the new column. Okay, and then I just copy pasted this one. Okay, here, sorry, not copy pasted. I just look here. I just click on it, concatenated. Using ampersand, we can combine these two values together. CA space Los Angeles, CA space San Francisco, TX space TX, WA space Seattle. I combine these two things because a state can have more than one city, isn't it? So in that case, if you combine these two things, it's kind of a composite key. But in Power BI, the form you cannot select more than one column to do the composite key thing here. And next one is the city data and sales one. Yeah, sales one also I did the same thing. Look here, when I click on this, I created an additional column. This additional column holds the combination of these two values here. State name, here state name is CA, space, and then the city name. And if you look at here, we don't see any duplicate here. Okay. But with the combination of these two, we can, this is approach two, second approach. So what I do here is, since I have created a custom column, the combination of these two, I just simply drag and drop it here. Okay, even this one also one too many. Look here, it is same. Now we are able to get the same output. Very good. So the next approach is, okay. So I just go and delete this one. I just go to the transform data Power Query editor. This is my table, sales one and city data. Okay, now what I do is I just simply take any one of these tables. For example, I just select the sales one here, right click on it, duplicate. I just rename it as bridge table. I just say bridge table, state, city. Here, what I do is I just select these two columns and then I right click on it, remove other columns. I don't need other columns. Here, what I do is, here I just create the same thing. Okay, here I just go and create the custom column. Okay, here I look here in this table, only two columns are there. When I went to the add ribbon and when I clicked on the custom column, on the right side you can see the state, the column name, state and city. And then what I do is I just type ampersand, double quote, space, double quote, and then this one, and then city. Here I'm combining these two things. The same thing, whatever I did it in the report view, I'm doing it in Power Query Editor. This is another way of doing it. Okay, creating another additional column. This is called your bridge table. Now what I do is I close and apply it. And I have a state bridge table here. Okay, this one I don't want to use it. And if you hover the cursor here, you can see that city and city got related, and here the city and city got related. Okay. And one thing what you can do is, here also you can have only one column, using which you can, here you have year one, right? Year one and one you have. But what I do is, I'm going to use the custom column here. So here the custom column. The custom column has the values, of both the state as well as the city in it. CA space Los Angeles, CA is San Francisco. I'm going to select these two columns in this one, and then I say one to one, both let it be there. Now we will go and check what is the report output. Perfect. What is the first approach? First approach, I have used the city column, and then in the second approach, I have used the custom column. In the custom column of these two tables, I directly linked. And third approach, I have created a bridge table here. Okay. The bridge table, what I do is I just, so you might be asking this one, in this case, do I need a city and state? You don't need it. I just go and see if I delete it, what happens. Where is the sales city bridge table? Bridge table. This is the one, state, city. And what I do is I just select this column, rest. No, okay, you cannot do it, that one. Better I do it here. This is for you guys to understand how to create a bridge table. I just select this column and remove other columns. And here I just right click on it, remove duplicates. Since I don't have any duplicates, it remains as it is. And then I'm going to say close and apply. So this is my bridge table, sales bridge table. If I go and see it here, state city bridge table have the custom relationship, and again this one, if I create custom, okay, here if I see here the same output, we don't see any differences. So in this case, we have created another table, additional table, which serves as a bridge between these two tables. This custom has both the state and city columns value in it. It is kind of a composite key. In the case of RDBMS, you take any RDBMS like Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, it is possible to create the primary key based on more than one column. Okay, based on more than one column, you can create a relationship. That is called composite primary key. But here, so since that is not available, what we did, we created a column wherein we combine the values of these two columns. We put it here, and then we linked these two columns by selecting these two columns, common columns between these two tables. Now it's doing perfect. Okay, fine. These three approaches. And then next one is okay, now the question is, here I have multiple values. I have a duplicate values are in the state column. Here also the same thing. First of all, why many to many relationship is not preferred? Why many to many relationship is not preferred? The reason is, let's say in these two table, let's say we have only state column is there, the common column between these two table. Only state column is available. Let us assume that way. In that state column, at least in any one of these two tables, this state column should have unique values in it. Only then it can do the filtering. If both the table state column have duplicate values in it, it will not do the filtering correctly. That is the reason why we need to address this issue. We need to treat this issue. In this case, luckily we have one more column is available, city. What we did, we combined these two things. With the combination of these two, each state, only one city will be there. Okay, good. So in that case, we don't see any issues here. Right? In fact, 1-to-1 is more than sufficient. We combine these two, state and city, fine. Okay, that is the reason why we need to treat. First, understand this, guys. Why many-to-many relationship needs a treatment? Why it is called as a weak relationship? Because the key columns in both the tables have duplicate values in it. Okay, and they will ask you more than one example. Can you give me, what are the scenarios you encountered? These kind of issues. You can say simply this kind of thing, right? You can say the other example is like shift. Let's in the case of call center, you have the data available in. Okay, I will show you that example later. Okay, we will go one by one. See. This is the one. Okay, I'm talking about. So you have employee table and you have the shift related table. These two are kind of a dimension table. This is your bridge table. And again, you have another table that is your fact table. Okay. And here in the bridge table, you will have another column. That value will be used in your fact table. With the combination of these two, you will have one more column. That column will be used in your fact table. That is a different thing altogether. But with these given three tables, if you wanted to extract the data from these two tables, you need to have a common column between these two tables. We don't have it, hence we create the bridge table. The bridge table, and also it's a many-to-many relationship. This is another example. And we worked in call center project. We have something like call center related subject area, wherein we have something employee table and shift dimension table. And for that, we created a bridge table. Now we are able to get this output. The approaches are pretty straightforward. In this case, I just use the, instead of state column, I use city column, because when I looked at the data, I could see that city column has unique values in it. So hence, why should I break my head with creating bridge table, all the things? Okay, you need to consider these two columns. There is a situation. So in this case, we have only state and city. If you have another column, right, you have more than one column, you need to combine it, and then you need to create the relationship. This is the way you can do it. Okay. And you can combine these two things. You can combine the values of these two columns and put it in another column. And similarly, these columns should be available in other tables. Okay. Only then you can create the relationship. So even this one is also working fine. This is the one. And if you see here city data and all these things are city data, and sales is coming with a sum of sales. Okay. There are no changes here. Okay. Now what we will do is state and state in these two columns are having duplicate values. Can I create a bridge table wherein I have only the unique values for the state column, and then see if it filters well or not. So in that case, one to many. Let us give it a try. I just go here and then, okay. I cannot, I'll have to join the columns here. Now my state column ready, but I don't want I just name it as a state in my bridge table. I'm going to remove this now. In the bridge table, you need to have unique key column here. Okay, unique key values, you need to have it in the bridge table. That's what I have shown you in the call center data also, right? So here what I do is I have duplicate here in the bridge table. I just right click on it, remove duplicates. Now I have unique values here. Fine. If I close and apply it, if I go here, sorry, in here, I just remove it. And then you need to check the relationship. If you keep the cursor over state and state, look here, one to many, automatically one to many relationship got created. Because here for each state, we have only one value in it. We don't have duplicate here, whereas here we have duplicate. So one to many, and here one to many relationship. Okay, one side of this one is this, and many side of this one is this. And if I go here, see here, all the reports caused some problem. So what I do is I just keep this somewhere here. What I do is, because I have include the city here, okay, and I don't want the city here. Fine, but still the population and sales are not, the population is fine, but the sales is not filtered correctly here. Okay, here this is my This one comes from city data and city data. Instead, what I do is, where is my sales bridge table? This is the one, my sales bridge table. Let us see if I use this column from this table, what happens? At least if I use this column, you understood the difference, right? Look here. This is the bridge table. In the bridge table, currently I kept only the state column. This state column has unique values in it. We don't have any duplicates here. Okay. Now earlier, the city data tables state column was there here. Okay. Actually, we are supposed to use this one because the bridge table is the one filtering both these tables, isn't it? The sales table as well as city data table. And now what happens is, right, I just removed, I excluded this state column here in this field. And then I just bridge table state column, I put it here. But the population comes from city data and sales comes from the sales one thing. The population seems to be correct. WA 0.20. Okay, fine. And only thing is the sales, when I use this column, the state of column from the city data, it was showing 790, 790. At least when I now use this bridge table state column here, now my bridge table is filtering the column, but this issue is there still. Okay. And you remember when I used the many-to-many relationship between these two tables using the state column, we were posing the same issue, isn't it? But now we will see, and here state is filtering the sales, and the location is there. And let me just check. Even this is not much helpful. Here I have used a whole function in the calculate. It is not much helpful. Even with all function, the DAX all function, it is not ignoring the filter. This point you need to remember it. They might give you this scenario and they'll ask you, okay, I created sales total measure, a measure by the name of sales total. Here I am doing sum of sales. If you drag and drop the sales column, it is nothing but sum, right? And yeah, but I'm doing sum here, but I'm using all function. All function to remove all the filter. Okay, and it has to remove all the filter. And let me just do one thing, all except the sales one. Okay. Yeah, I think in all except I have to use. Okay, and this is the one is for sales one. Come on, in the sales one, I have something like, yeah, I need to use the table name. Two arguments, you need to use it. Okay, fine. Let's see what happens. Okay, no error. That doesn't mean it will work correctly here because filtering. Look here, when I used all except, which means except this column, rest of the columns, except sales column, rest of the columns in the sales one table, ignore the filter. But you do the filter for this column. But in spite of that, it is not doing the filtering. And still it repeating the same value. Okay, even the all function is also not ignoring the filter. But again, all except we tried it. But the filtering is happening, but it is not happening correctly here. Okay, what I do is the other option is here we have used the, okay, I just enable the bidirectional relationship. We will see the last option in both. I will explain you bidirectional relationship right after this. Even after this, it is not doing it, right? It is not doing the filtering correctly. Look here, because in the state column, we have duplicate values, right? We have duplicate values here. That is the reason why we are using bridge table. But still, it is not doing correct job. What I will do is I'll just enable the last try. We'll give it a try with this one. Yes, it has been done. So even after that, we don't see any improvement, right? So we don't see any improvement here. So hence, it is not much helpful here. In this case, we can use the city column itself, because city, state and city, you can use it, state and city. And for the sake of consistency, right, you need to use the combination of these two columns. Each state will have only one city in it. Hence, this option is ruled out. Instead of creating a bridge table, in this case, right, we don't need a bridge table at all here, in this case. But earlier I have shown you the bridge table wherein I have used the composite key of the state and city. It was doing the filtering correctly. But in that case, the relationship was just one-to-one. Usually we introduce the bridge table only for the one-to-many between the two tables. Okay, one-to-many, one-to-many. Okay. So here the custom is more than sufficient. So I explained you various scenarios. In real-time scenario, you need to be you need to take a closer look at the data. That is the reason why exploring the data is very much important. Since I removed the bridge table from the link, that report was showing error, because in that report I was using the column from a bridge table. So now it is showing the correct output here. Now for you guys, create one simple table. Okay, and what I would suggest here is, see here, each state city will be unique. I just show you with the data here, so that look here, in each city, each state, city will not repeat more than one time. This is fine. Let's say you have some transaction file. In that, you will have multiple records, right? In the same city, from the same city, state, same city, same state, you will have multiple occurrences of the orders. Customers living in this city, the city which belongs to California, many customers, they would have ordered products. You create another table, order ID, and then what you do is state and city also you can use it. Okay, for the time being, okay, you can use it. And then quantity sales, something like that. And then what you do is total units sold and total sales we made, right? You need to use it. So in that case, what will happen is order date will be there. So state, city, order date, because each date order number is also, right? Yeah, state, city, and order number. That is another composite kind of thing, right? Say state, city, order number. You see order number, state, city is there. And the order number, will vary for every new orders, right? The order number is unique for every new order. In that case, order number, state, city, quantity, sales. That's what, 5 columns. Put it in an Excel. Just type it in 5 lines, and then what you do is you create a report, something like this. Here, what you need to do is you need to say city-wise units sold and this one, the sales, total sales. That's it. Units sold, total sales, that is enough. And population, all these things, we don't need it at this moment. Okay, you just give it a try. You understood? You take these two tables, city and sales one and city data. And then what you do is you introduce another table called the invoice table. Invoice number, invoice date, Invoice date is also not required. Invoice number and state, city, quantity, sales. And order and then order number, sorry, invoice number, comma, line item. See, I just type it here so that you will not have any confusions. The single invoice, you would have ordered multiple products, right? You would have purchased multiple things. Invoice number, and then state, city, you will put it here. And then the next one is line item. So invoice number, let's say 101, in the line item 1, the product, something like product, you can give some product A, B, C, something like that, and then quantity and sales. That's all. The same line invoice number, line item 2, second product, the same state and city, and the product, let's say product A and two different products we purchased in the same invoice, and the quantity is 5 and 6, and sales is let's something like $150 and $120, something like that. Put one more thing, right? So in this case, do you think we need to have the duplicate of the state and city, because already you have this table, right? The city data table is there. Okay, we take the city data table. Here we have the state, city is there, population is there. Okay, and in that case, what will happen is the population for the each combination, it is common. But since you have the state, city here, you don't need it here. Instead, what you can do is you can use something, that is where you have something called surrogate key. Okay, you can give some common and 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. You have some column like the surrogate city key. You can say city state city key. State city key, that is going to be a primary key. So you put 1, 2. 1 is CA Los Angeles, 2 is CA San Francisco, 3 is this one, because the combination of these two, the surrogate key 1 represents the combination of these two. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So that you can give 1 here, right? The surrogate key 1 here, so that that 1 represent CA Los Angeles. You don't have to have these columns here, right? You can say state city key. You don't look here. Now you understood. We don't have to have duplicate keys, right? To the state and city, you don't have to specify. You can say 1, 1. In this case, 1 is California, Los Angeles. In California, Los Angeles city, in the same invoice, they purchased more than 1 product. Okay, but still, this one will appear in your other order table. I don't want to. Probably, as part of the assignments, I will give you that complicated thing. You try that one. At this moment, you create another table, okay, like this, and then you put city, state key, something like that. Okay, and then use a bridge table. Okay, use a bridge table, and then the bridge table should have the combination of these two, state, city key, and with that, or the bridge key should have all the things, state, city, and 1, 2, 3, something like that. Okay, maybe you can take this duplicate, or you can duplicate this query, remove the except these two columns, right? Rest of the column you remove it, keep only these two columns, and then what you do is here create another column in the Power Query editor. So you put 1, 2, 3 state, city key. This key you can use it here. Okay, or else state, city, you can use it here. You create a custom column like this, and then you have a custom column. Maybe this is the surrogate key. Okay, and this column you can use it here, custom column. values, you can use it. Okay. And then what you do is you just print a report like a total sales, right? The invoice, each city, what is the total sales and units sold, how many units sold, how many sales we made. Along with that, display the population also. Okay, each city, but end of the day, how many cities we have, 2 4 5, but each city you have multiple records here. That is what I'm trying to say here. For example, here Los Angeles, CA Los Angeles. Prepare the data on your own. The reason why I'm saying is, when we prepare the data, we will encounter a lot of issues. End of the day, when we do testing, that is when we'll be posing a lot of challenges. Los Angeles. Okay. And now what you do is you create one more invoice number. And for that invoice number, use San Francisco, this one, the CA San Francisco, CA Francisco, 2 products. And then for other city, Washington, you use Seattle and Spokane, you create that. For that, you create something. And then what you do is, with the combination of these 2 tables, forget about the sales table. So this is the sales table for us. Okay. Now what you do is you need to give me a report wherein it should show each state and city, what is the total units sold, total sales we made. Okay. You can give me that one. Let me see, right? You try with the bridge table and see, because you have multiple records are there here, right? So Los Angeles repeating more than one time here. But whereas in this table, you will not have duplicates, the combination of these 2, right? Custom thing. Give it a try. Okay, so now you understood what is many-to-many relationship, and why many-to-many relationship is called as a weak relationship, because both the tables, the key columns have duplicate values. Hence, it will not do the filtering correctly. So it requires some treatment. What kind of treatment? It requires a bridge table. In this scenario, we don't need a bridge table at all in this case, because the city and state, these 2 columns forms as a composite key. Hence, with the combination of these 2, state and city, we don't see any duplicate values. Hence, we don't need a bridge table. But with the bridge table also, I have demonstrated how it can filter it. In the bridge table custom column, we created it. In the custom column, we combine the state and city values. Similarly, we retain the same column in these 2 tables. By linking this one, we are able to do it. But in this case, 1-to-1 is more than sufficient. First of all, in this scenario, we don't need a bridge table at all. Okay,